Our top story, Australia, the UK and the US have unveiled a historic deal that allows Australia to acquire up to 8 nuclear-powered submarines. The $368 billion transfer is expected to be completed by the mid-2050s. With this, Aukus intends to counter China in the Indo-Pacific region. But in its zeal to contain China, has the West gone a little too far? Let's examine this. In recent years, China has grown more assertive in the Indo-Pacific region. Coupled with this, Beijing's increasing naval presence has put Australia at unease. So Canberra felt the need to have more naval power of its own. Australia therefore began looking for nuclear-powered submarines, which the Aukus deal now provides. Nuclear-powered submarines have a distinct advantage over others. With nuclear reactors on board, they do not need to come on the surface regularly to refuel. They can remain and operate undersea for months. This helps them avoid any detection by the enemy. China is obviously not happy with such an arrangement. Beijing says the nuclear submarine cooperation plan is a blatant act and that it constitutes a serious breach of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, as well as poses nuclear proliferation risks. Apart from undermining the international non-proliferation system, China says the deal fuels arms races and hurts peace and stability in the region. China also flagged another concern with regard to the deal. Beijing says under the deal, 2 nuclear states are transferring tons of weapons-grade enriched uranium to a non-nuclear weapon state. This, it says, clearly violates the object and purpose of the Non-Proliferation Treaty. This concern has some weight. The Aukus deal uses a loophole in the 1968 Non-Proliferation Treaty. Para 14 of the NPT exempts fissile material utilized for non-explosive military use from inspections and monitoring by the UN nuclear watchdog. So naval propulsion materials that power nuclear submarines are immune from IAEA inspections. Aukus exploiting this loophole marks the first such instance of its kind. This also sets a worrying precedent. Countries may use this loophole to hide highly enriched uranium or plutonium from international oversight. This can potentially be used to build nuclear weapons. If such a thing happens, the whole point of having a nuclear non-proliferation treaty gets undermined. All right, for more on this, we're now joined by William Courtney from Washington, D.C. He is an adjunct fellow at the global think tank RAND. Thank you very much for speaking to WION. Now, we'll come to the larger implications this might have in just a moment, but let's first talk about what this means for China in particular. AUKUS, we know, was created in many ways to counter China's growing footprint in the Indo-Pacific. Now, after this nuclear submarine deal, how do you think China is likely to react? It's obviously not amused and it has expressed some major concerns. The question is, how do you see this panning out?
Well, China has been dramatically expanding its own military power, both conventional naval power, but also its nuclear forces. Australia will not be gaining access to nuclear weapons information or material for nuclear weapons, raw material. Instead, Australia will be importing fuel rods for reactors, which are already fashioned for reactor use. Australia will not be enriching or reprocessing any uranium. So this is pretty consistent with the international non-proliferation order.
All right. Now, fact is, this is the first time that a loophole in the NPT is being used. Do you believe that sets the wrong precedent? Can this loophole, for example, be used to hide weapons-grade technology from international oversight? And some might argue that just because the West is doing it, does it make it right?
Well, the protections that are built in, and the statement by the International Atomic Energy Agency Secretary General has made clear that IAEA is not uncomfortable with this activity. Australia is a very reliable member of the international community. It has no nuclear capabilities of its own, does not have nuclear reactors. So this is not a country that is bent on becoming a nuclear-armed country, a threat to the non-proliferation order.
Well, this isn't the first time that the West is being accused of double standards. Chances are that allegation is going to be levelled repeatedly now in the context of this Aukus pact. But on that note, William Courtney, thank you for sharing your perspective with WION.
You're welcome.